slavery. They set up a provisional government with Jefferson Davis as the president and Alexander Stephens as the vice president. There is Jeff Davis at his inauguration.
What's that?
That's when he first takes office, the ceremony.
But he said that
He
speech.
stopped by for us.
But he said that speech at this morning.
What's that? Yes, when he takes the oath and gives a speech.
Was that in
Jefferson
at
Davis.
Yes.
It was in Atlanta.
No, it was not in Montgomery.
Montgomery.
All right, so James Buchanan denounces secession, says it's unconstitutional, a state cannot leave the Union, but he also says we can't really do anything about it. Buchanan just sort of sits on his hands and decides not to do anything, and he blames the Republicans for it.
Really?
He asked that everybody continue to obey the fugitive slave law. You know that's where if a slave ran away to the north, people in the north were required to return said slave.
Even though some of them didn't, right?
Well, yeah, some of them didn't. He's calling for an amendment to protect slavery. It looks like he's trying to compromise. He's trying to convince the South not to leave. And Lincoln says revolution was only a moral right when exercised for a morally justifiable cause. Do you think Lincoln thinks slavery is a morally justifiable cause?
Yes. No. No, he was.
That, now if it means that the South is seceded from the Union.
The radical Republicans are ready to accept a peaceful separation instead of any compromises, is where they're at. They are,
So
let's just let the South go. They want to go, we'll let them go. We're tired of trying to compromise with them over and over and over again. It's not
So
working.
they let their pride get in the way.
So here are your last-ditch efforts to keep the country together. The Crittenden Compromises is offering changes to the Constitution that are unrepealable. Part of the deal is we can't go back and undo this for any reason. So here they are. Admitting New Mexico as a slave state, wanted obedience to the fugitive slave law, and a repeal of personal liberty laws. And they wanted an amendment to guarantee slavery against any future interference. It was ironic that what is the actual 13th Amendment?
That slavery is abolished.
Right, it abolishes slavery. The 13th Amendment abolishes slavery, but before there was the 13th Amendment, there was this proposed 13th Amendment to protect slavery.
Ain't that pretty good?
All right, here's Lincoln's first inaugural, 1861.
That's slavery.
That's in Washington, D.C.
That is in Washington, D.C. Very good. So now we have this issue. The South has ordered the federal government to surrender all of its forts inside states that are in rebellion or in secession. Fort Sumter's in South Carolina, and Lincoln says, I'm going to send supplies because they're running low. The South says, don't do it. Lincoln says, it's cool. We're not trying to fight. They just need basic supplies. What makes this so important is because Lincoln was doing two things. He was making good on a promise that he was going to try to hold on to federal property. But the most important thing is he forced the South to fire the first shots. What happens when you get in a fight? What's the first thing somebody says when they go to the principal's office?
He hit me first.
They hit me first. Why do you say that?
Because that means you were in self-defense.
You started, yeah.
Exactly.
That's
You
what-
were defending yourself. You were not the aggressor. So now Lincoln is not invading the South. Lincoln is not picking on them. Lincoln's not the aggressor. Lincoln is
Protecting
defending
himself.
the Union. And it's much easier to say I'm defending the Union as opposed to I'm invading or fighting the South. So Lincoln is not the aggressor. That's very important. So then they decided to take Fort Sumter before those supply ships arrived. The fort is attacked and surrendered. And for South Carolina, at least in short term, they get the fort. But do they really win?
No,
They died
cheating
just
on that
when
one.
they died.
And that's the start of the war right there, right?
Absolutely. This is the start of war. Lincoln calls up 75,000 volunteers to put down the rebellion. When he does that, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Arkansas joined the other states in rebellion. There is the attack on Fort Sumter. And now we are going to go back into the lab, and you guys are going to continue writing your newspapers. Remember, all the way up to the election of 1860. Let's back up and move on to the lab.